Hello guys, today I'm gonna explain you how to get the day. Um, so for this, we have some reference from the NDN docs. First of all, I'm gonna declare my login tool. I'm just gonna use the log variable to a short name for console.log. You will see me using this a lot. And first, date is a JavaScript built-in library to manage dates. If we run the date keyword with the first capitalized letter, it will just return a string with the date, right? So let's test it out. Not in the.js, and as you can see, the first one, date, is a string of the date. If a string of the date, right? So the next is the date.now method. So this method date.now will return a units timestamp. A units timestamp if the counting of seconds signs and a specific date. I think Jan 1 of 1970. So that's what it will return. It will return the units timestamp of the date, and as we can see, it returns this big number that is the units timestamp. Then I have a separator just because I wanted to separate different sections. Now I'm gonna create this an instance of the date. Let's call it date object or date class. I'm gonna create a new instance and with no parameter. What happens when we call it with no parameter? It will return a date instance of now, I mean the actual date, because we can just put, let's say, 30/12/2021, and it will just parse the date and create an instance of this date. But if we do with no arguments, it will just create a new instance with the actual date and the time too. It will count the seconds, the hours, minutes, and so on. So that's what this line does. And after that, after creating my instance, I just return the years after 1900. After 1900, this function my date that get year will return the years after 1900, and this is a deprecated function, but it is working. Probably you will find a use in the future, so it's good to remember that. And as you can see here, 121 years have passed since 1900, right? So I don't know for what you will use this method, but you just need to remember it for the time you will use it. And that we are going to learn how to return the full year. We are going to use the get full year method. Remember that all these methods are from the instance I just created. This is my instance, right? So all the methods comes from the instance. And in this case, we are going to use the get full year method. This method, as the name says, will return the full year. And as we can see, the full year is 2021. So that's how it works. It's simple. Next, we will get the day of the month from 1 to 31. Remember this because it is now not in that sense. Just remember this, it's not in that sense, right? It returned the day. As you can see, the day of the month in my case is 20th, and that's all. That's what it will return. The next thing is get day, and this is in that sense. What does it mean? That instead of 1 to 7, it will do 0 to 6, right? So that's how it works, and this will return the day. This will return the day from 0 to 6 of the week. And in my case, the day 1, that means that today is Monday. So that's all. And then we get the month. The month also in that sense is also in that sense. What does that mean? That means that it will go from 0 to 11. And as you can see, 11 is December, so instead of going 1 to 12, and that's all. That's just the number of the month in that sense. And as you can see here, month of the year is living. And then we go to the hours of the day, and this is not in that sense, but just remember that the 24 hours doesn't exist, because when is the 24, it just becomes the next day. It just becomes 0, right? So that's not in that set, but just need to remember that really in reality you will never see the 24 hours. And we get that with get hours method. Also get month, you get the past result, and in the next result it's you can get that from get minutes. Get minutes is not in that sense, because you will never see the 60 method, and it's from 0 to 59, and as you can see in the minutes is 54, and that's completely normal and simple, not too complex. Then after minute we have second, that works in the same way. Just get seconds method, and you will go from 0 to 59, because 60 doesn't exist in second, because once you got to the 60, it just passed to the next minute. And to finish this section, you just have the get time method. The get time method will return the unit timestamp of the date instance. You will say, oh, but that's a clone of the other method you showed. No, because date now will return the unit timestamp of the actual date. And if we do a get time of an instance of the date object or class, it will just return the unit timestamp of that time. For example, if it was in 1970, it will just return the timestamp of 1970, right? It will not return the timestamp of now. An extra is the get UTC hours. This is just an example, but with UTC you will let's say convert the date you parse as UTC, and it will just display as UTC2. So with this, you will not deal with time zones and so on, because you will use the universal time. And it's good to know. Maybe somewhere in the future you will use this. And the next thing is convert. Maybe you want to return a string of the day more readable or in another format. So we have some methods, for example, toDate string, and this will just convert the date into a string, a human readable string. And as you can see, to human readable here, it converts to Monday, December 20 from 2021. And that's all. That's what today's string does. Then you can also use the ISO 8601, that it use that format. Is like an industry format. You can use that also. As you can see, it gives the date in that format. And also you can use to JSON, and I think this is my personal opinion, is the same as this, right? So it's like a shorter name, you know. And then we go to local string. Well, into local string you will set first, you will set the language, I think, and then the country. If you don't know that, you can search that on Google, the 2-letter country code and 2-letter language code, or just language code. To get to do that, or doing that, will return, for example, locally in Spain, will return this. This is how you will see the date locally in Spain. 20 from 12 from 2021, and this is the time. Remember that also the time changes. And then you have in Korea, or in Korean from Korea. So with this, you will get the time as you will see that in Korea. So to 2021, also the 12 and 20, the day. And this is some Unicode symbols, and then the date, or the hours, or I mean the time in Korea. Remember that this will also change the time zone, so it will show a different time, right? So you also have only to show the time portion. That means that it will skip the date portion, and you will get only the time. As you can see here, you will get only the time. And after that, we got to the part only to convert to string. What does it mean? It will convert the date into a string, but that string maybe will not be too human readable. For example, this, right? And then you have toTime string, and it's the same as this, but will only grab the time portion. And as you can see here, it will only grab the time portion. And the last one is to UTC string, and this will convert the date you have into universal time. And in universal time, as you can see, it already is 21, 21st, I think, and December 2021, and the hour, or yes, the time. So as you can see, my country is like 9 p.m. In the universal time is 3 a.m. So that's how it works, and the time zone works. And also I have to say that, for example, here you can have get date, get month, get hours, but you can also use get UTC month, get UTC year, get UTC seconds, for example. As you can see here, that's all. When you want to get the UTC date or the universal time date, it is useful for that. And that's all. Thank you so much. Bye bye.